Hello, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This is Comrade Freighter, and this is my channel introduction. A couple years ago, I was a stupid conservative, like 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, and then I became, I was going off and on of being like a post-left anarchist, and just a dumb conservative, and eventually I did become an anarchist after reading some Nietzsche, who's not an anarchist, obviously, but he was very anti-nationalist and pro-constructing your own value system. And to me, that was part of what anarchism was, unfortunately. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, for better and worse. But I also read some Proudhon and Bakunin, so I did actually immerse myself in anarchist theory. But at some point, I felt as though the theory itself was a little bit lacking, or I was confused on how I should approach kind of anti-capitalism, and that's kind of how I fell into place with Marxism, with its very specific and grounded critique and analysis of capitalism and its functions. And that sort of drew me all over the internet, both in anarchist spaces, socialist spaces, Marxist, lefty pol. I'm on Leftbook, I'm in lefty polls sometimes, and other times I'm on YouTube. So I'm all over kind of these lefty areas, and it's, I think, gotten me to a point where I feel confident enough to make my own content or make my own videos because I feel like I know enough and I've read enough. Basically, my channel is just going to be whenever I can and whenever I'm done making scripts or whatever, writing some content and putting that out, but in kind of the gaps in between, rather than other sort of leftist YouTubers where they might drop a video every day or whatever, or go months, like Zexisy or Muke. He doesn't upload very often. Libertarian Socialist Rants doesn't upload very often. I don't really enjoy that. So in the gaps in between content, I plan on just uploading readings of texts, because it's also helpful for if I'm talking about something, I can be like, hey, I just read this, here, listen to this. It's 6 minutes. Or for getting kind of more obscure Marxist texts out into kind of a place where it's more accessible than Marxist.org, or for the many people who I know and can assume don't own a reader or a collection of Marx's works. And that's where I find a lot of these. So yeah. Kind of the general purpose for the audio I'm recording, and I'll put up more mirrors, is sort of it's sort of just to proliferate this information, like I said, and for people to further understand Marxism and Marxist theory, and also anti-fascism and why that's important too. And I plan to, as frequently as possible, make sort of these audio, these readings, and as soon as possible content. In the future, I plan to make a video about Reform versus Revolution, which is, I believe, a title of a book that I haven't read yet, which I plan on before I make this video, obviously. But also just because I am also I do environmental work, and it's a little bit more, I suppose, bourgeois, because it participates directly into actual sort of politics. It's not partisan at all. It's just taking part in the actual political process. And so I have sort of an alienated perspective toward that because I'm a Marxist, and I don't necessarily agree with reform, but I think it's interesting to take into account that sort of Marxists and socialists need to enter these more leftist spaces, but they aren't necessarily directly anti-capitalist, and it's good to kind of spark ideas about that. I've been doing that. But that's for that video. I'm also going to be making a video, because it seems like everyone has, about how National Socialism isn't socialism, but I got into an argument with a dude, and I don't want to again, so if I make a video about it, I can just be like, go watch my video, I don't care what you have to say. Go comment on that if you have something else to say, okay. And I probably will make some environmentalist videos, because those are fun and easy, and just reading more text, and at some point I'm going to be streaming with my mutualist friend, and we're going to be reading and talking about Hayek's Road to Serfdom, because he said he wants to do that, and why not, I haven't read it. I should read it. Read books. Yeah. Alright. Bye.